first working group, Competencies of GPs in Management of Complexity.
Thank you, Mr. President. This meeting took place yesterday afternoon and was very well attended, with Switzerland, France, Germany, Ireland, Finland, Serbia, the UK, Lithuania, Czech Republic, Italy and Belgium in attendance. The agenda was proposed and accepted, and the minutes from Rome 2018 were reviewed and agreed. The meeting had been informed by 2 articles which were authored by Daniel Widmer, Patrick Ouvrard and Marie-Christine Bonnemour. Marie-Christine had brought to the attention of UMO the development of health technology assessment, and the first article dealt with the place of family doctors in this discussion. The second article was UMO and HTA and an update of what had taken place and the invitation to become part of the pillars and to play a strong role in the assessment of health technology. We then had a short slide presentation from Daniel Widmer on health technology assessment, which had been undertaken on behalf of the European Commission, and DJ Sant, which is responsible for quality, safety and innovation of medical products, Directive 2011-24 EU. At this stage, I was hoping that Daniel would be making his slide presentation. Your slide presentation? Yeah. Thank you.
I think it's nothing new to make the slide presentation. We had resumed the slide presentation in the General Assembly a day before. I don't know if it is useful that you can have this slide presentation on the website. I think it's better if you see the slide presentation. It's take a little time, and it's a repetition what we have said. What we have said. What is most important is to know the result of our discussion, Linda.
I can give you a brief overview. Peter Holden, UK, mentioned that all medical devices have both hardware and software, and that their issues can arise through software and the reliability of it, and he did cite certain medical legal issues. Mark Hermond, Belgium, reminded us of the ethical foundation of the European Union, and we felt strongly that one of the domains was not only clinical and non-clinical, but it should be ethical as well. And we were assured that there was some philosophical input in advising this, but it was felt that UMO could also advise strongly on this. Peter Holden again recommended the ethical handbook, which was produced in the UK. It was felt that better follow-up should be taken and in conjunction with the European Medicines Association and EUNet HTA, that there should be an interface there which should follow up all medical devices. There was some discussion in diagnosis, for example, the use of genetics in cancer treatments, and the fact that this was being developed for other conditions also. It was felt that there was some danger to general practice family medicine in this regard, because online genetic assessment can be done, and it's possible that the GP could be bypassed with people self-diagnosing. Jean-Pierre said that early dialogue with general practice family medicine and other providers would perhaps lead to better innovation, more tailored products that were going to be valuable for patients and used in general practice. They was some discussion about the assessment of these products and whether it should be mandatory or voluntary, and it may be that it should be a mixture of both of these. And there was a further discussion to describe the role of the GP and family medicine. Were they an advocate? Were they a guide? Were they a personal advisor? What exactly could you describe their contribution in the regard of this assessment? We came up with some statements at the end of the discussion. The first was medical device is both hardware and software. The second was no algorithm could be used without using clinical judgment to support the use of the algorithm. And clinical judgment included knowledge, skills, attitudes, and experience. Describes the process and also the outcome. The fifth one was that it was impossible to exclude ethical and social dimensions from the clinical domain, even at the European level. The sixth was that we should present in the early dialogue, not only with the critical appraisals, but also to suggest possible innovations. Seventh statement was that assessment must continue over years. And the eighth was that the GP, family medicine, is responsible even if applying guidelines. And we were advised that there was an interesting quote, which was, guidelines are not tram lines. This is from Professor Sir David Haslam of NICE in the UK. The discussion was left open. We felt that there was further discussion to be had from the plenum and further working group activity. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. If there are...
Thank you so much, Linda, for the very good presentation. I think that those 8 statements will be helpful for me to answer to the European Commission, to Flora Giorgio, who was not here, and to show her the preoccupation of the GPs. And I thank all the group for the creation of those statements. We wanted that the statements are very simple, but of course we can develop, and I will develop it in my answer to Flora. If you have some question about the statements, we can answer now.
Thank you, Daniel. Other comments or discussion about the topic of this working group? Yes, please.
I'm sorry, but I don't see this well. So only I would like to recall that what we were talking about in our working group, it was my contribution, one of you, that we should be aware of those medical providers gathered in chains that we can face, we have to face in Czech Republic, and the chains that I think that they can even provide the care in the other countries, as I heard. And what the danger is that they are somewhere around the edge of legal administration or provision of medical care, as they declare themselves like as GPs, or that they are employers of GPs, but those GPs are mostly imported from the other countries east of European Union, and those doctors mostly work without any qualification of GPs, and they keep them 1 or 2 years, and before the limit of some like examination of them or assessment of them is nearly to be, and they replace them by the others. So it is this problem, and the second problem is that it breaks the continuity of care, because they offer, and it is what it is their benefit, let's say, what patients see at the first sight, that they provide care from 12 hours per day, 12 hours, 7 to 7, 8 to 8, doesn't matter. Mostly around the places where the people are gathering, where the people gather, supermarket centers, terminals of metro stations in Prague and other similar places, and we call it supermarket medicine. They provide medicine like this. But there is a continuity of care is completely broken down. They changing doctors, and they are guaranteed by one doctor in, I don't know where, in Moravia, and he so-called guarantees all the doctors there. So these chains of providers or of primary health care are a big danger for all of us. And more about this, if you want, and of course, who doesn't want to sell his own practice or to pass it over with some reasonable profit, they don't need it, because they are covered with the finance of some steel workers, for example. So they don't need to buy any practice. They only, with this competition that is on the edge of the legal or law, could endanger the normal market that we would like to have. So, or even of benefit of our patients as well, that continuity, for example. So I would like if we as a UMO can think about it and can support that to enhance the idea that this is not what our patients really need. Thank you.
Are you okay if we change point 2, no algorithm use without clinical judgment of a well-trained specialist in general practice? To answer your first comment, for your second comment, the point 8, the GP is responsible in the continuity, even if applying guidelines, to answer your second point. Okay?
Okay, can be altered the minutes from the working group discussion and have it in the right place. Other comments, if they are? Okay, thank you very much.